Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm Kelly. This is KBellaBeauty, and today I feel like I'm looking a little crazy because my makeup is only partially done here. I am going to be sharing with you my very first Test It Out Tuesday video. So I kind of decided in the new year I wanted to try really hard to get 3 videos up a week, and so I feel like I'm not the most creative person, but I thought that if I kind of came up with some series videos, that would be a little bit easier for me to kind of think of video ideas and get that 3rd video up a week. So I came up with this idea to do a Test It Out Tuesday series, maybe like every 2, 3, 4 weeks. I will try out a new product, and I mean, since I'm testing it out, it's a first impression. But I thought that I would try it out on camera for you, let you know my first impression thoughts, and then after like 2 to 3 products, I'll come back and do an update video and let you know what I think about the products and like a full review. So today I have some new Wet n Wild goodies. I did pick up one of the new Wet n Wild Color Icon shadows. This one is Rose in the Air, and I actually heard some people say that this was a dupe for the Modern Renaissance from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So I didn't initially think of that, but when I heard some people saying that and I looked at the colors, I was like, yeah, I think I can see that. And then I also did pick up some Wet n Wild brushes, and I actually took them out of the case. So they are right here. And I'll let you know all about these products. I will try them out today. So if you're interested in seeing my first impression and trying these products out with me, go ahead and keep on watching. Okay, so first of all, I feel like I look a little crazy because I already did my brows and my foundation and my bronzer, but I want to use these brushes to apply my makeup. I picked up 5 brushes from the Wet n Wild line, and the reason why I have the empty containers still, I have not used these brushes. I did wash them. I'm like one of those weird people that likes to wash makeup brushes before I put them on my face, because you just like don't know what's going on in the factory, like what kind of chemicals or whatnot has been on them. But anyway, the reason why I kept the boxes is because on the actual brush itself, let me see if you can see it, there's just a letter and a number. So this brush right here says P15. Well, if you don't know too much about brushes, like P15 might like not mean anything to you. I mean, P15 doesn't really mean anything to me, but I can look at this brush and figure out how I'm supposed to use it. But on the actual box itself, it gives you a description of like what the brush is and how you can use it. So I wanted to keep these so that I could kind of share what the brushes were with you guys. But right off the bat, initially, when I'm thinking about these brushes, that is something that is a con for me. I don't necessarily know that it's a big deal that you don't have the name of the brush, but I feel like for someone that is a beginner or, you know, not experienced or knowledgeable in like makeup brushes, when you get a brush like this, I mean, it says fluffy blending brush here, but you might forget over time like what this brush is, if that makes sense. So I don't know, I kind of wish that maybe like on Sigma brushes, they give you like the E40 and then it says blending brush. It would have been nice if this said P20 fluffy blending brush, is what I'm getting at. My first impression when I touched these brushes though is that they are super soft. This one is P70, it's the blush brush, and you can see here that it's kind of more of like a round blush brush. It's not like my Real Techniques brush. This one right here, the blush brush, is like more tapered at the top, and this blush brush is just more of like a dome shape. So that's a little bit different about it, but it's very soft. This I feel like would be good to put product on the apples of your cheeks, but I typically like put a little bit of product there and then blend it out. But like I said, this one right here, the P70, is the blush brush, so I'm going to be applying blush with it today. The only other face brush that I picked up is the Wet n Wild P75, and this one is the highlighter brush. This one is very fluffy and soft. It's not dense at all. The blush brush, it's really not that dense either. I mean, it feels a little compact, but it is still pretty fluffy. Same thing with the highlighter brush. It's very fluffy, very soft. Then I did pick up 3 eye brushes. This one right here is the Fluffy Blending Brush. This one is the P20. And so on the box, it'll tell you Fluffy Blending Brush. And then on the back, it tells you that you can use this to blend out harsh lines after eyeshadow application. Then the P15, this one is the Tapered Blending Brush. This one can be used for applying and blending eyeshadow in the crease. I also picked up the P10. This one is the Dome Pencil Eye Brush, and this one is for precise application in the outer corners of the eyes. I also didn't read the highlight and blush brush. This one can be used for powder or cream, applying it to the cheekbones, the cupid's bow, and bridge of the nose. And then the blush brush, it says the same thing. You can use it with powder or cream to apply blush to the apples of your cheeks. On the back of here, it does say that the Pro line brushes were curated with attention to every detail. They're cruelty-free, vegan, and feature our ergonomic handle, this handle right here, that was designed for total control. Ultra soft premium synthetic bristles allow for smooth and streak-free application that mimic the consistency of natural hairs. So I do notice that on each one of these brushes, there's a spot right here. I'm guessing maybe is it for your finger, for your thumb? I'm guessing this handle is designed to be easy for you to hold, so I would guess this is where your finger would go, or maybe your thumb when you're applying makeup. So like I said, I already have my foundation and bronzer, so I'm gonna go in with the blush brush first, and I'm trying to use up products from my 2018 product pan. So I do have my NARS blush that I featured in there in the shade Lovejoy, and I'm almost a little bit nervous to use this because I know that Lovejoy is super pigmented, and this brush is, I don't know, I feel like I might get a lot of pigment, so I'm just gonna tap it lightly into the blush, tap a little off, and I'm going to try to put it on the apples of my cheeks and blend it back a little bit. It's really good for depositing blush on the apples of your cheeks, but I almost feel like it's a little harsh where I initially touched the brush to my cheek right here. I feel like it's kind of hard to blend it back a little bit. Let me try the other side. I'm gonna dip it in again and brush it off. I'm like using such a light hand right now because I'm afraid to get too much product. I mean, maybe it was just me. I felt like this side was a little bit easier if you just lightly like swirl the powder on the apple and then brush it back. This definitely is good. I'd say this is definitely good for applying blush onto the apples of your cheeks. So if you're someone, I've seen in some makeup tutorials where people literally only put blush on the apples and they don't sweep it back. But if you're someone like me who likes to sweep it back with your bronzer, I don't know that you would love this brush for it. I definitely think this blush brush is like for the apples of your cheeks. So it's okay. I don't think that I would reach for this over my Real Techniques because I like the way my Real Techniques does, like, you know, a sweeping motion. But it, like I said, if you like to go with the apples of your cheeks, this is a good brush for you. The price of this brush was $7.99. All the other eye brushes are $5.99, but this face brush, I guess because it's like the largest brush that I got, is $7.99, and you can pick these up anywhere Wet n Wild is sold. I did get mine online though. Next, I'm going to go in with my highlighter brush, and I am going to, again, use a product that is featured in my 2018 project pan. It is the Blush by Laura Geller in Gilded Honey, and I've never used a highlighter brush like this before. This kind of reminds me of the Anastasia highlighter brush. Normally, I use the Sigma one that's kind of tapered, so I guess what I'm going to do is put a little bit on the side and just sweep it onto my highlight area. I can definitely see the highlight. I mean, the highlight is popping. This brush feels weird to me, but I wonder if it's just because I'm used to the tapered highlighter brush, whereas this one's almost like a little bit fluffier, I feel like. I feel like the Cupid's bow would be hard because this brush is so big, but, well, it's not so big, but it's just so fluffy. I mean, it definitely did the job. I have the highlighter on there, and you can blend it easily. So I say that I would recommend this brush. I guess I like this brush a little bit better than the blush brush because, I mean, it definitely got the highlight on there, and then your highlight's not going to be harsh because it's easy to blend out that way. I'm just not used to a highlighter brush that's in this shade. But I'm gonna keep trying it out, and when I do my update video, I'll let you know if I get used to this style, how I truly feel about it. So in order to use my 3 eyeshadow brushes, I do need to dig into this palette here. Again, this is the Rosé in the Air by Wet n Wild, and I have not opened it yet. I have not tried it out. I actually typically really like the Wet n Wild eyeshadows, so I was real excited for this new packaging because I really like the layout of this palette better, and I feel like you get a lot of shadows. I know that they came out with another Comfort Zone one. I don't know if it's going to replace the original Comfort Zone that they came out with or if it's just an addition, but I really did like the Comfort Zone palette when I had it. I ended up giving it to my niece just because I didn't reach for it as much as some of my other eyeshadow palettes. The packaging, I think I just ripped like the wrong part. The packaging is a little bit cheap looking to me, but this palette was only $4.99, so it's not like you're gonna get some fancy packaging for $4.99, but the packaging is not why I buy a product anyway. I want to buy a product because I want the shadow to be nice. So I'm gonna use all of the Wet n Wild eye brushes that I got, the 3 eye brushes, to apply my crease shade, but then I am gonna have to go in with a different brush for my lid. Okay, so this is what the shades look like here, and they actually do tell you that this top shade and this bottom shade are the transition shade, and then in the back they actually give you, it looks like 2 different looks, and so they've numbered the shadows and they show you like how to create the look on the back. So that's actually really nice. It looks like the day look would be easier to achieve if you're a beginner than the night look. The night look, it looks like you're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades, and the day look you're using 3, but I think that's really nice that they added that into this palette. I have not swatched it or anything yet, so I'm gonna swatch a few shades for you, just some live swatches here real quick. I guess I'll go in with this warm orange shade, and I'll go into like the cranberry shade next to it. They're very, very soft to the touch, like super soft. This magenta, okay, this magenta is not as soft as the other 2. That one felt a little bit more coarse. And then, yeah, this shimmer shade was not as soft either, but they still didn't feel bad. So let me see if I can do this on camera. This was the first shade, the orange shade. And this one was the one next to that, more of like a cranberry shade. My swatches are horrible, don't mind that. This was the magenta shade, and then the shimmer. They look super pigmented, but I always feel like eyeshadows look more pigmented when you swatch them with your finger anyway. They don't look streaky or anything though. So let's go ahead and get them onto the eyes. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the fluffy blending brush that I picked up from the Wet n Wild brush line, and I'm gonna use this warmer transition first. I'm gonna get a little bit on the brush. I am noticing a little bit of kick up, but that never really bothers me. You just tap your brush off, and I didn't even prime my eyes. Hold please, let me prime my eyes first. Okay, I know that some people don't prime when they're testing out new products, but I always use an eyeshadow primer, so why would I not use it when that's how I would use it in my everyday life? So I just use the Urban Decay Eden Eyeshadow Primer Potion. Now I'm gonna go in and take that transition shade and the fluffy blending brush and just buff it into the crease. The brush does feel super soft. It's not as soft as the one that I normally use by Sigma, but Sigma brushes are super expensive. It's not scratching my eye or anything like that though. It is doing a nice job to blend out my eyeshadow, but I wouldn't say that it's doing a phenomenal job. I probably have brushes that do a better job of blending. This shade is very light, but then again, most transition shades are anyway. So I'd say the brush is okay. Like, I don't, upon initial application, my first impression, I don't think I'm like blown away by it, but I think it's getting the job done. I do think this transition shade is really nice though. I mean, it's going into the crease nicely. It was a little bit lighter when I first put it on, but you can definitely build it up. Next, I'm gonna take my tapered blending brush, and I think I'm gonna go in with this orange shade right here and put that in the crease. I feel like that orange shade had more fallout than the transition shade. Whoa, this is super pigmented. Okay, so the transition shade was a lot lighter. I had to go in 3 or 4 times, but this orange shade is super pigmented. Like, I'm just gonna have to go in once to get that color. It's really pretty and it's blending nicely into the crease. I really, really like it. I'm gonna go in for a second time and just build it up a little bit. But this one's blending really nice and it's super pigmented. I really like that orange shade. As always, I do like to go back in with that transition shade and just blend it all together and make those 2 colors look nice and blended out. So I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of that transition product and just try to like blend it all out so I don't have any harsh lines. All right, we're gonna take this Dome pencil brush and we're gonna go in with the shade that's next to the orange shade, that cranberry shade, and this I'm gonna focus just in like the outer corner and I'm gonna press it on there. This is good. It's not, I don't think these brushes are really designed for like blending product out. It's more so for depositing. So I'm gonna press it in with this brush and then I'll go back probably with the 2 other blending brushes to brush it out, but this shade is super pigmented and these 2 shades were like the creamiest to the touch from the ones that I swatched, and they're going on the eyes so nicely. Like, this seriously, okay, so I'm one of those people that really likes, I like high-end eyeshadows. I haven't really found too many eyeshadows from the drugstore that like the quality was up to par with some of my other palettes, but I feel like you wouldn't really know that I had a drugstore eyeshadow palette on my eyes right now. I feel like these shades are very pigmented. They're showing up so nicely and I really love these tones. Let me just blend that out a little. Even with that Dome brush, I really liked that Dome brush. I felt like it applied the product really nicely onto the outer corner. It wasn't too big. I have really small eyes, and so some brushes can be too big and very overwhelming, but I felt like that one was like the perfect size. And these shadows look like they're blending really nicely. So far, I'm pretty impressed with this guy. I think what I'll do is take this shimmer shade right here, and because I didn't get any other brushes from the Wet n Wild line, I'm gonna use my Royal & Langnickel Medium Eye Shader. This is still a drugstore brush. I think you can get them at Walmart, and I really like the way that this one picks up lid shades. So I'm gonna try it out. I'm not seeing as much kick up on the pan as those two other blending shades. I'm gonna put this right on the lid. Now normally for a shade like this, I would use Fix Plus, but I wanted to try it without Fix Plus first to see what it looked like. And it just looks like a very light shimmer. You can definitely see the shimmer, but it's a very light shimmer. There's not like chunky glitter in it or anything. So what I'm gonna do now is take that same shade and put a little bit of Fix Plus on it, and I'm gonna put the Fix Plus side on this side and see if we can see a difference. Okay, so now it has Fix Plus. Oh yeah, I feel like I totally see a difference. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but in person I can totally see a difference. But I'm not bothered by using Fix Plus. I use Fix Plus with like all of my shadows, like all of my shimmer shades, because I feel like it just gives it a little extra pop, and I totally see that here. Like this was just one swipe, and then I went back in and added like the tiniest bit more, but it looks super pigmented. And let me look in a mirror. I'm not seeing any fallout, but my mirror's kind of far. Let me look closer up. I don't see any fallout on my face, none. No fallout from any of the shades, so that's really good. I don't like getting fallout on my face. It's not gonna like deter me from getting an eyeshadow palette, but I don't see any fallout here. So I'm gonna go back into the lid shade and I'm gonna add Fix Plus and fix this eye over here so that they match. So I love that this palette has like this deep brown if you want to deepen things up, but it also has a really nice light highlight shade. So I'm gonna take some of that highlight shade and pop it on the brow bone. It appears to be matte, which I don't mind a matte highlight. It's just going to lighten up underneath there anyway. Sometimes if like you haven't plucked your eyebrows or something, a shimmer highlight can kind of accentuate those brow hairs, but a matte's just gonna set it and make it look more bright underneath there, brighten everything up. Okay, so I feel like I have my first impression going on here, and I feel like you guys have been able to see a good reflection of the shadows. So since I don't want this to be a full-blown tutorial and take forever, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the eyes, throw on a lip, and then I'll come back to share my first impressions with you. Okay, in case you are wondering, my lip is Kylie Cosmetics Candy K. I forgot how much I loved this lip. Like, I got so many other lip colors that I forgot why this one was my favorite, but I'm being reminded right now. Anyway, I'm sorry if you hear any weird noises or see anything moving. Royce was crying outside my room, so I had to bring her in. But I want to give you my final thoughts on these products. The eyeshadow palette. I am so impressed. Like, I am super, super impressed with this eyeshadow palette right here. And I would 100% recommend it. This is $5. I feel like my eyes are super pigmented. I feel like you can see my shadow. That was one of my biggest complaints with the Carly Bible BH palette, is it was affordable, but I felt like I got no pigmentation on the eyes. I totally feel like I have plenty of pigmentation. The shades that I used were really nice. They went on my eyes smoothly. I did have to use a little bit of Fix Plus with the shimmer shade, but I do that with some of my high-end favorites. These two mattes over here were super creamy. I did end up using this brown to line underneath my eyes, and that was nice and dark and pigmented. I really liked the transition shade. The only shades that I didn't use were this top transition shade, these two, and really these three like purpley type shades. But I like that you can kind of create different looks with this. You can go for neutrals, you can deepen it up, you can get a little bit of purple. But I definitely am gonna get use out of this. It's really small and compact, so this would be super easy to travel with. And I love this. Like, I love this. I know that I have so many eyeshadow palettes, but I really think that I'm gonna find myself reaching for this one. As far as blushes go, I do really like the 3 eye brushes. I felt like they were really good quality. They deposited the shadow nicely. They blended the shadow nicely. They are pretty affordable. They're all $5.99. I don't think I like them as much as like my Morphe or Sigma brushes, but for brushes from the drugstore, they are really nice and I will use these 3 brushes. However, I'm not too impressed with the face brushes. I don't really like the blush brush upon first impression. I felt like it just deposited the eyeshadow too strongly on the apples, and the shape of this highlighter brush was just a little bit weird to me. So I need to keep working with these and see if my mind changes on them. But I would recommend the eye brushes if you're looking for brushes from the drugstore, and I would recommend this Wet n Wild Color Icon. That's gonna be it for my very first Test It Out Tuesday. I hope that you guys liked this video. If you have suggestions for how I can improve my Test It Out series, I'm totally 100% open to them. I feel like this one's gonna be kind of like a longer video because I did pretty much include an eye tutorial since we were testing out an eyeshadow palette, but they won't always be long. Like I definitely think I want to try out the Fenty Beauty sponge. I want to try out the ColourPop concealers. So if there's anything else that you guys are interested in seeing in a Test It Out Tuesday, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button so that you can be notified when I have other Test It Out Tuesday videos or any videos, and especially if you want to be updated on my final thoughts and review of these products. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.